All right. Thank you, Chairman. Senator Klobuchar.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Senator Bennett, for this great and timely hearing. I wish we didn't have to focus on it because I wish we didn't have this many fires, but we are here and we need to do everything we can. I look at Senator Schiff there with what he and his constituents went through with the fires in California, what we've seen in Colorado. And we know that these fires pose the greatest threats in the West, but it's also important to know that these fires haven't spared other parts of the country. I remember flying in a helicopter over the forests of northern Minnesota and seeing the areas burn, 90,000 acres, which was the largest, the Pagami fire, largest Minnesota wildfire in nearly a century. Wildfires, including the Greenwood fire, once again burned across northern Minnesota. And of course, we've been, like so many of the northern states, have been, our people get the air from Canada from those horrendous fires that burned for months and months and months. I'm concerned that recent investments by Congress have led to the Forest Service that have been really important. The Collaborative Wildfire Risk Reduction Program, funding 2 projects in the Superior National Forest to reduce hazardous fuels and create strategic fuel breaks, which I'm sure agrees is just the kind of thing we need to be doing. Unfortunately, these projects and others carried out by the Forest Service and its partners have been disrupted due to the widespread funding freeze. And so I look forward to hearing from all of you today on this, but also on the Fix Our Forests Act and ways we should strengthen the bill to ensure that wildfire responses are directed to the areas most in need, changes to the review process are targeted and allow for community input. Senator Bennett mentioned this, and that the Forest Service has the necessary funding and personnel to perform the additional and important wildfire mitigation. So my first question would be of you, Mr. Hawk. Can you discuss the importance of federal funding to accomplish more restoration work, and how does this assistance help counties and other local units carry out wildfire mitigation?
Thank you, Senator, and thank you for the question. Indeed, as I said in my opening comments, some of the lack of funding and lack of programs, the programs that are being funded are being well utilized, but there's still a shortage of funding and there's still a shortage of resources and capacity on the ground. And so many communities such as mine have had the ability to get projects into the pipeline. Funding and workforce tend to be the issues that get in the way of those. You know, the Good Neighbor Authority, it's very happy to see that. I know you've been a longtime champion of the Good Neighbor Authority.
Exactly.
And thank you.
You're welcome.
In Section 111.
Has like the best name of any bill.
And it's great to see that and I think that's a very positive info for that. It reinstates and restates what the Explore Act covered, which is counties and tribes have the ability to use that Good Neighbor Authority to its best extent. And I would also offer that funding of those kind of programs and expansion of those programs within communities then also allows us, and I think the insurance the insurance businesses have seen this, when we can enact higher levels of local regulation around building and wildfire protections, we're leveraging these different inputs in our community for better things that our citizens can take advantage of, and then being able to create fire-wise communities, work in the WUI, and make sure that work is done quickly and efficiently.
Mr. Bim, I've long supported permitting reform as long as it's done in the right way. Currently, many Forest Service projects are carried out using expedited permitting authorities, and any additional flexibilities, I'd like to see a focus on those facing wildfire risk. Are there targeted improvements to the permitting process this committee should consider that could lead to more active forest management?
Well, what I would say is that we have been working, when I was still working, we worked closely with Fish and Wildlife Service on ESA compliance and other issues with historic preservation, that we really do need to find ways to be more proactive, quicker in that work, and there are some efficiencies I believe we can find. I know the agency was working hard on that, and we could certainly do more with that.
So during your tenure as regional forester of the Rocky Mountain region, Did you feel like the Forest Service having fewer staff and resources would help it accomplish more work? I know it's a really tough question.
Yeah, thanks for the softball. No, ma'am. And what I would say additionally is that if I were chief for a day, I'd flip the organization chart upside down and put the districts at the top of our organization. That's where the work's done. That's where we meet people. And these cuts that we've been talking about are just at the wrong place. They're cutting people on the ground that get the work done that we need to have done.
I get it. So if you could look at it, as a manager, you would make them, and if you wanted to make some changes, you would do them in a different way than it's being done now?
Certainly would, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Klobuchar.